Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is the Uncensored Anime Podcast, where three fans of anime share uncensored takes on the anime that we've been watching.
Three weebs with tiny peepees.
All right, so again, everybody, welcome. This week, so this is episode 7. Mm-hmm. Today is September 27th, 2020, and we
throwing date stamps out there now.
Throwing dates, yeah, just in case people are watching, you want to know. Today's conversations, we're going to be talking about a lot of streaming services have dropped their fall 2020 lineup for anime shows, so we're just going to be talking about that. And then we're going to be getting into our two shows, which are, we're going to be starting off with Promised Neverland, and then ending off with My Story. And then, as always, Kenny's going to share with us an unraveled little tidbit. So, we were talking about the lineups that we were seeing online, and then we just decided we should just start recording and then keep having our conversations.
Right.
Yeah. So, Jerry, do you want to go through a specific one first, or how do you want to do this?
Let's chat a little bit. Let's just chat about a couple things, and I'll let y'all jump in. I mean, y'all need to jump in, obviously. So, those of you listening, if you didn't know, the fall 2020 anime kind of starts this week. Well, when this episode airs, it'll definitely be starting. And there will already be a couple shows that have started. Some will still be yet to air. But me and the boys, we're actually going to be doing a first impressions episode where we watch 13 new shows. And we're going to be coming at you with some reviews of those shows. Or first impressions. You can't review something off one episode.
Right.
But first impressions of those 13 shows. Just give you a little sneak peek of some of those shows. And maybe you can jump in while there's only 2 or 3 episodes out. And get a jump start on something you want to get interested in. And then we're going to carry some of those through the end and actually review them at the end of the season. Some of the shows that we actually end up liking of the 13. No way we're going to stick with all 13. We expect to watch a little bit of trash. Everybody likes some trash, baby. But before this, the boys and I were talking about some stuff that's been hitting. So, Kenny, what was the... there's a couple things that dropped this week, right? A couple additional things beyond just the... So, yeah, Funimation and Crunchyroll dropped their official fall 2020 lineups. But in addition, there was a couple other small things that dropped. What did we get this week, Ken?
So, first of all, Shaman King Trailer 2 or Trailer 1.
I think really there was a teaser that came
out.
Right,
it's really just... Yeah. It's really just another teaser, if we're being honest. And it's sort of a weird snippet of the show to show. Yeah. But it's cool. Check it out. Obviously, Shaman King is hype. We're hyped for Shaman King. We're here to go shaman, to be Shaman King. What up?
Oh, Jesus.
But I spoke it into existence. My favorite shoujo manga. I was talking about this last week because we were watching My Love Story because I love shoujos. And my favorite shoujo manga, Horimiya, gets a trailer. It's coming out. It's coming.
That's why you're excited.
I'm excited for that show. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, didn't you talk about it on another episode, Kenny?
I think I talked about it last week.
Oh, okay. Maybe it was just last week. Dang.
So the trailer dropped in between then and now. So.
Oh my god.
It's pretty wild. I'm just speaking into existence. So check out Anime Studios. Please pick up Blue Lock. I swear it's gonna blow up. I swear.
Kenny's holding it right now. He's saying he's putting it into existence right
now. Blue Lock,
anime, baby.
Please.
Give me that.
Announce Blue Lock anime.
Yes, baby. Yes. All right. I vibe. So Horimiya and Shaman King both got teasers. David, you have not seen either of these. What'd you think? You watched the teasers though, right?
No.
You didn't even watch the trailers? Boy, we sent them to you.
I saw the trailers that Kenny shared, and I was like, "Those look cool," and then I never watched them.
Oh my god!
But looking at all these lists that I currently have them up on my other screen right now.
Yeah.
Noblesse is looking pretty good.
Noblesse.
I'm getting some vampire vibes from it.
I've been told that Noblesse is the completion of the Trinity, the Webtoons Trinity. That's what everyone keeps telling me. So,
it's another Webtoon.
Right, so Tower of God, God of High School, and Noblesse. These are the Webtoons Trinity. So I hope everyone who's been hyped about how good Tower of God and God of fucking High School are. No, Jesus Christ. I can't deal with that.
I've actually heard good things about God of High School's animation. The plot I've heard is makes no sense.
Kenny, what have we watched? Maybe 9 or 10 episodes, something like that?
Hey, I've read 370 chapters of God of High School. I fucking like that thing.
Okay, you might like the webtoon version, but the anime we've watched, I think 9 or 10. We're not caught up.
The anime is good though, so
I think the anime is.
Although they made some changes, and I'm like,
we're gonna have to deep dive it when the season ends. But
we'll have a God of High School episode.
We'll make David watch it. But my only thing is that it's what happens when you realize, I feel like the author realized that people just love shonen anime, and he was like, I'm just going to throw as many shonen anime tropes into a blender and just poop a story out. And he was like, oh, I'm just going to shit it. I'm just going to fucking drop a steamy Duke on this story. Just,
my God.
You know, he just wanted to get it all out of there, y'all.
But he got it out.
He got it out. And it's hot. It's hot. People are hot about it, dude.
Bro, it's hype, okay?
It's hype. It is hype. There is certainly a level of, like, everyone's always looking for that next big, like, hit, right? Like, what's that next big shonen anime hit? And recently I feel like we've been kind of blessed by, like, reboots of classics, and we've been blessed by, like, you know, between Hunter x Hunter, JoJo's, and now Shaman King, like, we've been blessed with some reboots of classic shonen. So we haven't had to worry about, like, what's coming next. Especially, and we talk about this a lot on here, boys. You know, we talk about Dr. Stone, we talk about we haven't really talked about Black Clover, but obviously it's up there. It's one of those ones.
There's not much to talk about with Black Clover.
It's up there. People on it, though. We're talking about Promised Neverland. We talk about My Hero. We talk about Jesus. What was that other show? Oh, Demon Slayer. You know, these are all this next generation of shonen that everyone's trying to figure out what's going to be the next big thing. My Hero has certainly taken the lead, is what I would say. It's the next. It's definitely this generation's. You know, it's this generation's Dragon Ball. It's this generation's Naruto. It is what it is. But yeah, so I think people just want God of High School, like they wanted Tower of God to be the next big thing. They were like, "Oh my God, Tower of God! Have you guys watched that?" And now, you can't even lie. When it was first starting, David, I feel like people who didn't even watch anime, people were like, "Oh, bro, did you watch Tower of God?" I was like, "Chill."
Yeah, like before we did this podcast and I started really getting into watching a shit ton of anime, even I was noticing, like, seeing online communities, people hyping up Tower of God. Yeah. So going into it, I was like, this might be pretty good.
Yeah.
It's because episode 3 and 4...
They know our opinion on this.
Episode 3 and 4 were like such good impacts, and then it just was downhill. So everybody started forming opinions. Oh, 3 and 4 are out? Like, this is the best thing ever. And then it was like,
I'm gonna flame that shit all day, every day. But yeah, so then we had God of High School, and people started hyping that up. And now I've already heard some hype, some underlying hype for Noblesse. So I'm happy you brought it up, David, because we are definitely, it's gonna be one of our impression shows. It's gonna be one we're gonna have to give some first impressions on.
And you know it coming out after that. The fourth webtoon on the market, Scoob and Shag. Look out for it. You don't want to check out my ballyhoo, okay?
Honestly, if you like webtoons, you gotta go read Scoob and Shag.
You gotta read Scoob and Shag.
I don't know where that came from,
David. If you read
Scoob and Shag, okay?
I was there when you guys had a read party.
Yes, we live streamed it almost. Yeah.
And Shag.
What a joy Scoob and Shag is. That'll never get turned into anything other than a web comic, but.
Yeah, obviously.
But still, it's a beautiful, beautiful creation that deserves all the attention in the world. But so let's talk about a couple of these. Oh, okay. So Kenny mentioned those 2 trailers. We also got a release date for Attack on Titan, the final season. That hits later this year, which earlier this year, it was going to hit later this year. And then there was an announcement or a leak of information that had gotten pushed back to 2021. And now Attack on Titan said, nope. We're coming out this year. We're hitting the ground running this year. So MAPPA has gotten us this last season of Attack on Titan. You know, we're going to have that directional change. We're getting into the final season. We've got a new animation studio. I think everyone's excited to see what happens. I think part of us are worried. Part of us are excited. There's a mixture of emotions because people who read the manga know that there's hype coming, that the end of Attack on Titan is good. A lot of people that I know who read the manga say that they're pleasantly surprised with the direction of the manga. So I think the anime is going to be good. And I love the anime Attack on Titan. A lot of people kind of lost it in the second season. They didn't stick around. I think that they should regret that because season 3 brought that show back to me. I think it brought that show back to life, gave it a whole new life, gave some new character development, some new story elements that have really reinvigorated my love for the series. I'm excited for the last season. I hope that MAPPA doesn't drop the ball. I don't expect them to. They're a really great studio. We all love MAPPA.
Oh, yeah.
They've done such a good job
with really good
stuff. So I don't expect them to drop the ball, but you never know with their love. MAPPA loves 3D animation, so I'm worried, but I hope that they stick true to what we're doing. So we did get that release date as well. I feel like there was some other stuff. There was definitely some other trailers. If you go look up new anime trailers, I feel like a couple other trailers dropped. Maybe some stuff we weren't as excited about, but stuff you guys might be. Log Horizon season 3, Dookie Sandwich season 3.
I mean, we're able to. I mean, we can put the links to all these in our video description.
Yeah,
right?
we'll link a couple. We'll link a couple of the. Yeah, check it out if you are tuning in right here and now at this point in the podcast. Definitely check out the video description on YouTube. We'll drop a couple of the fresh trailers there, so you can go check those out, and maybe you'll find something that you're hype about as well. But let's talk about the 2020 lineup, David. Just looking at the list, you said no Bleach you're hype about. What else jumped out at you? Did you see anything that when you saw that list that you were like, oh yeah, I want to be a part of that?
So we talked about it last week. So Burn the Witch is coming out, and not only is it coming out, but it is dropping Thursday. This Thursday, October 1st, 5 p.m. Pacific time, which actually, I guess
by the time this episode drops online,
it'll be out.
Yeah,
Burn the Witch
will already be out.
So by the time you're listening to this, Burn the Witch will already be ready to be viewed on Crunchyroll. So I know we'll be definitely talking about that at least briefly next week. As maybe some starting info, maybe not a full review, but we'll definitely be talking about it because I know we'll probably all watch it.
Yeah.
Just scrolling through this list. I think Kenny's talked about this before, but Iwaka Karu, Sport Climbing Girls.
Oh yeah,
I read that one.
That seems pretty interesting. Is it literally just rock climbing girls?
David, don't ask questions, okay?
Okay, well, that seems pretty good.
I read a lot of sports mangas. This week I read Batuk. It's about capoeira. That's what I read this week.
Wait, what is it about, Kenny? I didn't hear that.
It's about capoeira. A girl fights capoeira. Yeah.
Okay.
It's good though. Okay.
But yeah, I would say my three for excitement are Burn the Witch, the Sport Climbing Girls, and Noblesse.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I dig. Kenny, what are you thinking, man?
I mean, I also this past week I caught up on Jujutsu Kaisen, so I'm excited about that one. I think that they have a lot of good, like a lot of cool animation can happen in that show. Mm-hmm. I am not the biggest fan of it. It's fun, but some of it is not very good.
Right. I think that a lot of people are hoping that Jujutsu Kaisen will get the it's gonna get the
Demon Slayer effect.
Right, the Demon Slayer effect, where the anime is just better than the manga.
Yeah, which I'm excited about, but I enjoy it. I enjoy shonen manga, so
right.
Mappa is also the studio working on it, which might help.
Yeah, I think it's
so. Is this not popular in Shonen Jump?
It is.
I think
it is popular in Shonen Jump. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I would say it's one of the mid-tier mangas that's running right now, which is why it's getting an anime. It's definitely one of those ones in Jump that if you're not reading it already, you might not be getting into it anytime soon, but maybe the anime will pique your interest and kind of get you re-involved in it. Kenny, what else did you see some others that were jumping at you, man?
I mean, I watch anime, man.
Kenny watches everything.
I don't focus too much on what's in front of me, okay?
Right.
I just binge that shit, okay?
Right.
I binge it right up, okay? Hey, reboot Ice Shield. Hashtag reboot Ice Shield. Give me Ice Shield 21. Reboot Ice Shield, please.
Here's what I'm thinking. So I think David and Kenny pretty much hit all the ones that are the most hype. But another interesting thing about this season is we've got a lot of returning series that'll probably interest some of you listening. We've got the return of Haikyuu coming back for part 2 of the To the Top season. So we're getting the next part of that. They're doing is it a reboot of Higurashi or is it a continuation? I don't know. They're doing something with Higurashi, which is an older series. I want to say it's probably a second season, but
you never know. I mean, you remember how long it took for Attack on Titan season 2, so
yeah, I want to say Higurashi's from the first anime series came out in 2006 is when the first one dropped. They did a follow-up season in 2007, and it looks like they were getting. Let me double down. Looks like they did a couple other. I've never seen Higurashi, but fans, yeah, it is. It's a new season. I don't know if it's a remake though. That's just being titled as Higurashi When They Cry New, so totally could be anything there. We're also getting a new season of Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? That one's pretty popular. Getting a new season of The Irregular at Magic High School. I think people are gonna be hyped about that. What else? And then one that at least we should briefly talk about is the continuation of Inuyasha. You guys seen this?
Yashahime.
Yashahime.
Yeah.
And now this is an anime original continuation of the series, following the children of Shishomaru and Inuyasha. It's what is it? Shishomaru's daughters and Inuyasha and Kagome's daughter? Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
No, I thought Inuyasha and Kagome have twins, a boy and a girl.
No, other way. I think Shomaru has twins, and then Inuyasha and Kagome has a daughter. At least it says it's the story of Toa and Setsuna, so Shomaru's daughters, and Moroha, Inuyasha, and Kagome's daughter.
Ah,
so there you go.
Also, I
Jerry, did you read the description? Sit, boy, it's time to watch the Inuyasha sequel series we've all been waiting for.
Oh man.
Honestly, dude, I don't know who is asking for this. That's my biggest question here. Like, I love Inuyasha. I do think it's kind of getting a revival in the sense of its popularity is kind of coming back right now. Some people are rewatching the old show. It's all available on Hulu, I think.
It was recently put on Netflix, right?
Yeah, I think it's either on I want to say it's on Hulu actually, David, but they put the whole thing on there. You can watch the whole original series, including Kanketsuhin, which was the final act season that they created quite a bit after the original series. But I just don't know who was sitting around saying, I want an anime-only continuation of Inuyasha following the daughters of our protagonists. I'm not sure who they're trying to focus here with this series.
Pulling the Boruto.
Yeah, let's be totally honest with ourselves, okay? Inuyasha is the biggest proponent that I think that filler anime can be good, because the filler arc in that show with the seven dudes resurrected is the most fun, coolest fucking arc in that show, okay?
Kenny, you're like the guy who says, like, the best arc of Dragon Ball was when they were going to their driver's test. No,
bro, I'm telling you right now, whenever they fight what are they called? The Big Seven or whatever?
No, it is actually a fun arc.
The Seven Swordsmen or whatever?
Yeah.
That's some shit, okay?
It is actually a fun arc. But, I don't know, who is that? Like, were you guys asking for this? Were you guys sitting around waiting to see the story of the daughters of our protagonists from Inuyasha? Is this what you're psyched for?
So I remember like when I was younger, watching anime before I even knew it was called anime, like watching Inuyasha like on Adult Swim or Toonami, whichever block it was on. But watching it and liking it. But I don't have flashbacks to my childhood thinking, man, I enjoyed those times when I watched Inuyasha, late at night. So yeah, I was not really asking for this, or I'm not really excited for it either. I'm probably not going to watch it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know if I will either.
You know what? I'll watch
Kenny will watch it.
Kenny will watch it. I'll watch it. I'll report back. Okay.
Who's the studio working on it? Sunrise?
Yeah, Sunrise.
Never heard of them.
No,
Sunrise.
They're known for every Gundam. They're known for every Gundam series ever, David. That's their their claim to fame, I guess I would say. They're the studio that does Gundam.
Did y'all see that Gundam though? They made that Gundam for the Gundam Museum.
Oh,
they did.
Yeah, I saw that. The live action one,
dude. Yes.
That's how. Okay, that's how they trick our asses. Okay, they're like, no, it's just a big,
It's just for fun.
It's just a big puppet, and then the Japanese are sending in their damn Gundams to beat our asses. We'll be done for. They're hitting us with the shining fingers and shit. What are we supposed to do?
Jesus Christ.
Oh wait, I'm a piece of shit. Sunrise did Cowboy Bebop and all of Gundam and Code Geass.
Did they technically do Cowboy Bebop? Oh yeah, Geass is them for sure. I feel like Bebop has other animation studios involved, but I could be wrong.
And they did Gintama.
Oh yes, they are the Gintama group. Yep, they did every version of. I think they did all the Gintama that they adapted. Bebop is probably Sunrise. Let me double down.
So yeah, starting life in
it is one of Japan's largest and best known studios.
Mm-hmm. Wow, 100%, bro.
Yashahime, Starting Life in Another World is a half demon. That's what I'm gonna watch coming up. So
someone will watch it. I might watch the first episode and see how I feel, but it doesn't look animated well based off the trailer they dropped. So if you haven't seen the trailer, go check it out. Yashahime. You're gonna the animation actually looks pretty stale is the word I would use, which kind of makes me fearful. But only other things about this season, there are a couple maybe like sleepers that I think some people should be on the lookout for. Obviously, every season is going to have a bunch of isekais. One of them might rise to the top. I have no idea which one. Kenny might have a better idea.
It's the one that's going to be on
rise to the top this season.
The one that's going to be on Netflix. It's like middle-aged worker reborn in another world.
Oh jeez, middle-aged worker reborn in another world.
Or it's something. It's like I'll try harder in my next life or some shit like that. The names are so stupid. Okay,
you mean my man Netflix?
Netflix
snagged this stuff.
Netflix got it.
That's random.
People say it's one of the best isekais because it's just classic.
Businessman arise in another world.
I think so. Yeah.
What the heck?
Some shit like that. I'll try harder in my next live.
The manga looks goofy, dude.
It's actually. I read the manga.
I don't think this is the right one. I think I'm looking at the wrong one.
I didn't read the light novel.
This is definitely the right one because there's no mention of the anime of this.
Let me look it up.
Whatever. Yeah. If Netflix is getting it, it hasn't been updated on the list that I'm looking at that Netflix is getting it yet. But I bet Netflix has already announced it somewhere else and it just hasn't been updated here. I do think there's a couple sleepers to look at Funimation and Crunchyroll's catalog. One is called Akudama Drive, sorry. I think that it could be a little bit of a sleeper, so I would keep your eyes open there. That's over on Funimation. And then I
think this one got pushed back.
I think that another one that could be a sleeper is Ikebukuro Westgate Park. I think that you all should keep your eyes open for that one as well.
That looked really interesting.
I think that one could be a bit of a sleeper. Seems to kind of be a more serious, scaled up type of drama series. So I think that could be a sleeper.
It got delayed to 2021. Never mind. Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Reincarnation. I will seriously try if I go to another world.
Is that the one, Kenny?
Yep, that one's supposed to be really good. Or it is really good. I enjoyed it.
It got pushed back.
It got pushed back to 2021. So
dang.
Never mind.
Those are my two sleeper picks. I think that Akudama Drive and Ikebukuro are ones to look out for. They're both on Funimation this season. So if you've got the time, check them out when they drop over the next week or two from when this hits. But it's interesting that Funimation got both of those. I really thought Crunchyroll would grab one of those two, but it seems like Funimation is taking in more of the mature series. Crunchyroll seems to be pretty hyper-focused on getting the popular shows and the more like relaxed shows, while they're letting Funimation and Amazon and Netflix kind of pick up more of the mature shows, you know?
Right. I feel like a lot of times what's it called? Amazon tends to get like one that's like really good. Like Amazon usually gets one that's like surprisingly good.
They'll always
and you're
take
like
something.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me at all if they get something good this season too, Kenny. I'm trying to think. What do you think they might grab that's left after Netflix or Funimation and Crunchyroll's announcements? Are you looking at the anime chart?
How do I?
I'm thinking that they could get any of the more serious ones, like Moriarty the Patriot. I don't think that got picked up yet. I could see that running over to Amazon. I could see... what else did we see on here, boys? Where did the sport climbing one end up, boys?
Crunchy.
I'm surprised I didn't see I don't think that... Did Dragon Quest get picked up at all? No, it did not.
No.
Yeah.
At least I didn't see it anywhere.
The Dragon Quest anime, I'm curious. Maybe that'll go over to Amazon or Netflix. That one might get a little bit of love just because of the history of Dragon Quest. Those of you unfamiliar, it's a very popular game that has been around for quite a while. And some of the older artwork, I want to say maybe Toriyama committed some artwork to it at some point. Yeah,
he still does it. Okay, he still does the artwork.
So Toriyama is still involved in the artwork. So that's the creator of Dragon Ball. I do think that that's that's another interesting one that could maybe end up somewhere. Other than that, there's not a ton. You know, some of the more mystery or drama focused ones I feel will end up on Amazon. So keep your eyes peeled there if you're more of a mystery or drama or more seinen focused person. Amazon will probably snag a couple of those ones that are left still to come.
Bro, what's Taiso Samurai by?
I was looking at the same one.
Oh yeah, that one might be good. It looks very Yuri on Ice. It's about gymnastics.
Has it ended up anywhere?
It doesn't say on the wiki page.
Oh, it's about gymnastics. That's weird.
It's about gymnastics, man. You know. Whenever they start doing some shit like that.
Kenny said, "I'll do any sport."
Speaking of, someone mentioned Amazon earlier. Did you guys also see that Amazon snagged a live-action adaptation of Promised Neverland?
No,
really?
I hadn't seen that news yet. What?
Yeah, the live-action movie, which I think is Japanese, drops in, I think, before the end of this year. And then Amazon is making I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, an English version of Promised Neverland.
Are they
into a series?
Whoa! Oh, so Amazon picked up the rights to produce one.
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. I'm curious how the Japanese production of the film will come along. Yes, looks like the live action film is set to release in Japan later this year.
Yep, in December.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, if anyone's a fan of the live action, Japan will put out a couple of very interesting live action anime adaptations. I think it works a little bit better for, like, Erased has a live action anime that we've talked about. My Love Story, what we're talking about tonight, I think has a live action.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, it does. So if you want to check that one out too, those are some cool shows that have live action versions. I will say that the actor who in that movie, all of the actors and actresses in the live action My Love Story do not look age appropriate in any way, shape, or form. As the show is about a bunch of 15 and 16-year-olds, and all of the actors look like they're in their 30s.
Promised Neverland is also wrong with their ages. Like, if you watch the trailer for it, because they've already have a trailer for it for the Japanese movie,
right?
They all look like teenagers when they're supposed to be, 6 to 12.
Yeah, they're supposed to be babies, kids. For real.
Wow, I can't believe they got these countdowns coming.
For what?
And we didn't even talk about Fire Force Season 2 is coming out.
Oh, shit. No.
Continuing.
It's continuing.
It's continuing.
It's not. It started last season. So it's already been going. Okay. The only other one is Golden Kamuy. Season 3 does start, which, if anyone's a big fan of the first two seasons, I've only seen a bit of the first season myself, but it did seem to have a good premise. I would like to revisit it at some point. So Season 3 of that show is coming along. I believe the manga is pretty well received. So I would say that there's most likely more positive coming from Golden Kamuy Season 3 as well. That's pretty much it for the upcoming season. So this was kind of our hot takes on everything. None of this is really out yet, but like I said, we're going to watch the first episode of 13 new shows, not continuing seasons, not season 2s or 3s. We're going to watch the first episode of 13 brand new shows that are going to have their first episodes aired. We're going to give you our first impressions 2 podcasts from now, so not next week's podcast, but the podcast after that, we'll be watching all 13, and on next week's podcast, we'll be announcing which 13 shows we will be watching. So if that interests you at all, or if you want to hear more discussion about the upcoming season and the seasons that follow, you know to stick around here on the Uncensored Anime Podcast. Hit that like, comment, subscribe button, baby boys. But
plug.
No, for real. Let's get into it tonight, boys. Y'all ready?
All right. Yeah, let's do it.
I think that the best way to start on our episode tonight is we've got 2 shows. We've got an awesome Shonen Jump series, one of the best out right now, / over in the manga, but more to come in the anime. One of the best going at the moment. And we have a very popular shoujo anime from a couple years back, which should be a lot of fun to talk about as well. So we're going to talk about the first season of The Promised Neverland. First, so if you've not watched The Promised Neverland, then please listen to our friend Kenny tell us, Kenny, what is the first season of The Promised Neverland about?
So,
spoiler warning for those of you.
Yes. Oh, hot diggity shit. Yes.
If you haven't seen it, at least watch the first episode.
Go watch the first episode before you listen, at least.
Yeah.
But if not, you can. It's a very easy watch. 12 episodes is good. The manga is over, so I actually know the entirety of the story. But
just talk about season 1.
You are introduced to a handful of characters. Our main characters are Emma, Norman, and Ray. And they live at this orphanage with a ton of other kids. And, they're just hanging out, playing tag, doing some tests. Also, they have numbers on their necks. I don't know why they have that. And also, they're all walled in on every side. So then their friend Connie gets adopted. And, that's really cool. Connie's going to have a nice new family. But she forgets her bunny, and so they bring her bunny through the gate, and it turns out there are these crazy fucking creatures that are literally farming these kids inside of this like they're cattle. And these 3 kids, Norma, Emma, and Ray, are really smart, and they need to get out of that situation. And Emma, in particular, is unwilling to abandon her family, and so they spring a plot to try and break out of this orphanage. Which is walled in on all sides and created so that they can be fed to these monsters.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the plot of Promised Neverland.
Yeah, 100%. I think that, geez, guys. So Kenny and I watched the show as it was airing, so quite a bit back. I want to say it aired.
I read this manga as it was.
Kenny actually read the manga as it was coming out. I watched the
anime from the very beginning.
I did not touch the manga. Kenny told me it was a good manga. So when the first season of the anime aired, I sat my ass down and I watched it every week. I watched it weekly right up until the end. It was one of the most like edge sitter type of shows for watching it weekly. So if you watch it in the binge format, you are going to get probably a bit of a different experience than I did. But in kind of reviewing it this week, just to prep for the episode, it is truly an interesting new addition to the Shonen Jump lineup. But David, you had pretty much zero idea what this show was about, huh? Prior to
I had no idea. I've maybe heard about this show once or twice here and there, but I went in completely, no experience. It just dove right in, and I was not expecting to see what I saw. I literally just finished binging it, to those that are listening, like an hour ago. So it's still pretty fresh. But I really enjoyed it. I'm excited for season 2 that drops in, January 2021. I am trying so hard not to read the manga. I'm trying to stay like to the anime. I'll be an anime bro for this show.
Me too.
But
well, let's hit on.
Yeah, what do you want to talk about first, Jerry?
Yeah, let's hit on so the series was produced by. So first off, yes, it's a Shonen Jump series. Which for those of you that are not big like Shonen Jump fans, don't be torn away from this show immediately, right? David, you're a Shonen guy. David, you watch a lot of Shonen. Kenny, obviously,
yeah, I love Shonen.
You watch just about everything that comes out.
I read Shonen Jump cover to cover.
Obviously, you read Shonen Jump cover to cover every week. And this is a Shonen Jump manga, but that does not mean that this. I think this is one of the first series to lean into. Okay, so we've all seen Death Note.
It's like suspenseful.
Right.
It's like
I even think
it's not like. Oh, you go, Kenny.
I think that it's like intentionally built to be similar to Death Note style. I think that Death Note in particular had such a lasting impact in Shonen Jump and in mystery manga. I feel like in general that sort of mental game where you're fighting. You're not just whacking each other with big swords. You're not Asta. You're not just going to whack somebody over the head. But that sort of week to week where it was suspenseful and it was, and your characters are fun and interesting and they're intelligent and they think their way out of things and they do things smartly. And sometimes they don't win. Which is
Rip Norman, dude.
Rip Norman,
man.
And another thing is this is a production by the group known as Cloverworks. So for those that are familiar with Cloverworks, it's a sort of an offshoot studio of A1 Pictures, which is a massive animation studio in Japan. But only a couple shows have sort of have the Cloverworks branding, which is some shows like Darling in the Franxx, which is a very popular production. Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai is a Cloverworks production. Final season of Fairy Tail, Promised Neverland, and the upcoming Horimiya are all Cloverworks productions. So pretty new offshoot studio, only dating back to about 2018. But they come from they're a part of A1 Pictures, which is a huge, much larger catalog of series.
Right.
But their A1 Pictures, I would say, is considered a good studio in general. And Cloverworks has already kind of built out its place, and I think Promised Neverland establishes that place even further as like, look, we're doing something cool over here, right? I mean, the first time you see those monsters animated, I was shooketh.
I flipped the fuck out.
I was shooketh.
I was like,
they are terrifying.
Terrifying.
So they are absolutely blood-wrenchingly terrifying. And they get progressively more fucking terrifying. Like,
yes,
they are scary fucking monsters. But I love how crisp the beginning of the show is, and how crisp the beginning of the manga is, where it's almost too clean, intentionally, for the grossness of seeing their friend get put in that jar and this fucking creature with weird long fingers and a mouth that opens the size of their heads, and you're fucking terrified. And these, little 12-year-old kids are like, fuck, we gotta get out of here. Like, we cannot be here anymore.
I I do think that this show, and like I was saying earlier, the Death Note comparison, right? There's not really a space for the Promised Neverland in Shonen Jump 20 years ago, to be upfront.
Yeah.
Promised Neverland couldn't have, and probably wouldn't have run in something like Shonen Jump 20 years ago. Just to be to be honest, you know, Shonen Jump was pretty much a pretty standard battle and comedy genre. Not Shonen as a whole, but Shonen Jump was a pretty standard battle and comedy magazine. You had action shonens and you had comedy shonens that ran in Jump. You didn't really have much of the in-between until, to me, Death Note redefined that potential. There was potential suddenly to do mystery and intrigue while still applying it to the shonen demographic. That was a really good shift, and it proved itself by being an enormous, massive, like, I'd say worldwide hit, right? You've got this worldwide hit in Death Note. And then you have the space to do something like The Promised Neverland. And I think we are better. The genre is better for it. That's what my initial thought on The Promised Neverland is, that shonen as a genre is better off because The Promised Neverland exists. It is able to say, look at what we can do in this demographic and in this apparent appeal, and look at how much we can sell, and look at how much we can do with character development, with plotting, with pacing. Look at what we can do and prove to you all that there is a desire to read this type of story in the demographic of shonen, which is, you know, young boy. It's that 12 to like 18-year-old boy demographic. And this is a plot that has a female lead, a child female lead that ran in Shonen Jump, and it not just ran, but ran successfully for 4 years, and has broken a ton of sales records as manga. So that is my one initial statement: is this is a show that defines and proves that there's space for new and creative ideas in Shonen Jump, in shonen as a genre. Another show that plays on that, right? Attack on Titan is in a similar zone. It plays on shonen demographics with a whole different perspective. Promised Neverland in the same zone. So let's talk about what I think are the highlights, and I want to hear y'all's opinions. The first highlight of Promised Neverland, what makes the Promised Neverland so strong, is, to me, the characters. Thoughts on the characters, David, Kenny, what do you guys think?
Well, first of all, Emma's great. She's so unbelievably shonen. That's a great part of her, is that she is that shonen protagonist. She's like, well, I want to save everyone. I want to save everybody, right? I want to protect all the kids here. I want to be able to do everything my way, and I want to be able to accomplish it without, facing sort of consequences. And then Norman and Ray sort of ground her. Especially Ray is that super cynical, like, he's negative. He's like, we can only do it if it's the three of us. We can't get it together like this, And then Norman, sort of wants to help her and wants her to accomplish better goals, accomplish her goals, even if it's not, smart. Mm-hmm. It's not the right idea. He's like, I can accomplish what you say and what you set out because it's me and because I'm capable of doing it. Mm-hmm. And I think that them three, I love. I like Dawn and Gilda. They're both two fun characters that become more interesting. Obviously, Mama is a phenomenal character. And she's sort of our first antagonist.
Right.
Our first,
arguably the main antagonist of the entire first season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they can't fight the creatures right from the beginning. And I think that it's important that they see, and in Sister Crone as well, that they fight with other humans to begin with, which is really important through the rest of the series. But I think that because they set up Mother Teresa, is her name Teresa?
Which one? The other? Wait.
The main mom.
Isabella.
Yeah. Isabella.
Yeah.
Isabella is somebody who was in their position and fell. You could even view her as a previously primary shonen protagonist. But she was incapable of accomplishing her goals. And through that, she fell and lost sort of her moral responsibility as a human. And I think that first battle, this first, sort of chess match against the antagonists in the show is really important. And I think that it makes it even more terrifying as we go into fighting some of these creatures.
Yeah,
because
I mean, obviously season 2 is going to have some of that direction. Kenny, don't spoil anything talking, because I know you've read the manga. I want our viewers to have only had to watch the anime to know what's going on. But for David and I, obviously, the next step is our children are going to have to not fight, but it feels like probably outsmart the creatures in some way. That feels like the natural progression for this series. So I'm really curious what that's going to look like without it being too hokey. I think that's my biggest worry. Season 1 was really awesome because it was people versus people, right? And that is something we can comprehend, something we can really follow. I'm curious if the show goes... I've heard only positive things about the direction of the manga, so I feel like we're in for a treat, but I do think that I'm curious how they are going to manage to take us into a fight between 7-year-olds and I guess they're what, 12 or something, 13?
12.
Yeah.
They're like the age Naruto was in the first season of Naruto, but they look like they're 4, and Naruto looked like he was a grown-ass man.
And they don't have any of the ninja skills.
Yeah, I don't know what Kishimoto was smoking, bro. Okay, David, so tell me, characters from your perspective. What was your thoughts on these characters? How'd they make you feel? What'd you feel?
Well, I wanted to touch on what you were talking about with the typical shonen and how Promised Neverland is not at all a typical shonen. Mm-hmm. And you kind of learn that as a viewer, like right in the beginning of the show, where Emma and Norman are under a car and they see Connie just dumped in a giant vat of water or whatever, liquid, and talked about like their cattle. And it's put, right at the beginning that these kids are powerless and they can't, if this was a typical, shonen, the main characters would try to fight them. They would lose, but then they would go on this journey of getting stronger, right, and then, building up to this ultimate battle of them fighting them. This is not the case at all. They, they're literally food to these creatures. So the entire season, they're planning on how they can escape, and it's amazing. I don't know if I was this smart when I was 12 years old.
Yeah, no fucking way. I probably
I would not be able to come up with a plan that they did at 12. It was very, I don't know, I think it was very, I guess, inspiring or just cool to see these kids try so hard to think of how to not only stay alive, but to keep their what they consider family, their family members alive, the other orphans. So I think it was just really cool, and it just felt good to see that these characters were not in an impossible situation, but the odds were definitely stacked against them. And then to see like the last 2 episodes of the season were stacked with content, especially the last episode. I feel like just so much happens in just 23 minutes.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Are those back half is where you learn about this is where you learn about Isabella's past and is that where all that comes in? Okay,
yeah. So literally the last 4 or 5 minutes of the last episode, it does a montage of a little bit of backstory of Isabel.
Yeah.
And then you realize that, spoiler alert again, that Ray is Isabel's son.
Yep.
Which was funny because literally as we were getting into our Discord, I was finishing up the episode, and I'm sure Jerry and Kenny saw my reaction to that.
He said,
it's like, what? No way. But
I about jumped when I first saw it too.
I kind of wish that, I would be very curious to see how I would react if I did watch this as Jerry did from week to week,
bro, and
go 6-7 days not knowing what would happen, because all the episodes end on a cliffhanger, and so it's that greatly affects the experience watching in a binge format versus week to week. So
yeah, I feel like each week I was going Giga Brain. I remember there was the episode where they were trying to break into the room to get a book or something. What was that small plot? And I remember one of the episodes ends and Ray or someone was caught. We thought they were done for. I was like, what kind of Giga Brain ass thing is gonna get I said, he's dead. I said, they're feeding his ass to aliens. I said, that's it. They about to
done the aliens.
I remember I came back the next episode and that shit was something else. He got caught by something else.
It was Phil walks in. It's like,
son of a bitch. I said, you did not do this to me. I said, I'm about to slap you, Promised Neverland. Oh my god.
This is one of my favorite things.
I was going off.
every week in like the post chapter comments, like people would comment, people would be like, Phil, y'all gotta remember Phil. Don't forget about Phil. Don't forget about Phil back in the orphanage. Phil, bro. They always were thinking Phil was about to show up with the fucking cavalry, like Gandalf the White looking at.
4-year-old Phil.
Oh, yeah, Phil's about to show up.
Okay, so to wrap up like the character discussion, what makes this show such a fucking blast to watch is they took the three, and you guys probably will agree, they took the three character archetypes that exist in every shonen. There's your main protagonist. She sort of has a desire to get stronger, to get better, improve, constantly improving. She's got everything that a primary shonen protagonist has. Then they took the anti-hero. They did the same thing. Ray is the shonen anti-hero. He's the Vegeta. He's the also building off of... Yeah, exactly.
He's your Lancer.
He's your side. He's building off of what Emma is doing, and then you've got your sort of, your smart character. He's your tech wizard. Your side guy. He's your Krillin. He's your
Krillin.
That wasn't a great example, but you know what I mean. He's the guy that's like there. He's smart. He can think things through. He's giving progressive advantage, and I think that they took the relationship you traditionally see in a shonen between these type of three. I mean, Naruto implored this, like, from the get. They literally put everyone in teams of 3 that followed these exact archetypes. Right. So you've got this, they did this exactly, but then what they did is they let these characters be able to lose. They let them have opportunities to fail quickly. And we had to watch them struggle to understand their place, because at the end of the day, they were placed in a team to, like, they all needed to help each other and move forward. They had to succeed together. And watching that develop with this version of these characters, right, made them stand outside of their archetypes. They had moments, especially since Emma is a female character, she had some vulnerability moments that a standard shonen protag isn't going to have. Things that Luffy or Goku would never do, Emma did do, whether that's sacrificing himself, or of understanding a place, and especially her ability to empathize with Isabella, I think is pretty clear by the end. Emma has something, a sort of empathy that most shonen protagonists just don't have. So that's what makes this show, on a character level, as a sort of a character study, much more interesting to me, because you have 3 characters that follow what would be a traditional archetype, and they turned them on their heads. They let them play outside of that. They let them have their own zones. They let them exist in new and untraditional ways. Made the show really interesting, especially when you have a plot, which is the second part we need to talk about. The plot of this series, it was so well paced and so well dialogued that there were moments where I was forgetting that there's fucking like giant alien creatures like outside, because you get so caught up in the sincerity of the conversation between some of these characters who are really more invested in who were you in your past, who are you now, what are you going to become, what is your purpose in life. For 12-year-olds, I was like, shit. But it was that ability to press the pace via sharp dialogue that created a plot that blew my mind. I mean, I don't think that shonen anime has created something as tight since Death Note. And I want to say, I have to keep going back to Death Note because it did the same damn thing. But Promised Neverland does it, I'm going to be upfront, I think it does it better. I think that it actually handles pacing and plotting just a little bit better. It learned from Death Note's shortcomings and is able to actually give us a even more fast-paced mystery shonen, which is super cool, I think.
Which, speaking of Death Note, check out Platinum Inn. That's a good one. It's a monthly too, so.
Kenny said, but what do you
Platinum Inn? It's the one that they're doing now. It's the 2 guys that do Death Note. That's
plot pacing. I think I got my thoughts out there. What do you guys think? Plot pacing. What was it about the show that made us? I don't know. What was it about it that makes it feel so fresh? It feels so fresh to me. And I think that watching it just feels so not like it hasn't been done before. But it has. But it just feels so fresh, right?
I think it's the resurgence of horror. I think that horror has become really popular in anime and manga lately. And I think that having a really good shonen anime that has very dark horror aspects. That, let's be honest, these are fucking creatures from the Black Lagoon. Like, these are horror creatures. And being able to mix that in with shonen stylings is really cool. And I think that the plot of Promised Neverland it's like an arrow, right? You know where it's going, but you have no idea how it's going to get there. And you don't know how many feathers it's going to have by the time it lands.
Take
right?
that quote home, Kenny. I like that. Yeah, that's a good one.
You don't know. You have no idea who they're going to lose or how it's going to happen, or nobody is immune from especially in that first episode where you meet all these characters, and you meet a lot of characters in that first episode, and Connie seems like an important character, and she's just gone. And then whenever Norman makes the sacrifice.
Yeah, what other shonen anime kills a character that has that many lines in the first episode? Very few.
Yeah. And the fact that they just...
I don't know of any.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big through line of the show, is that Emma doesn't want to lose anybody. Mm-hmm. And it's tough whenever she does. Whenever she has to give somebody up. Whenever, things just don't shake out in the direction that she can truly protect everybody. Yeah, and it's all about her overcoming that and continuing to fly forward.
She's a deeply empathetic shonen protagonist that does not... Mm-hmm. I don't know if I can name another protagonist in this genre that acts like Emma does.
Yeah.
I mean, she was ready to give it all to just give Norman just a few more...
Yeah.
I don't know, more time to live. I mean, she was willing to risk their entire plan that they had at that time, like not fully thought out, but like pretty well thought out. She was willing to sacrifice it all just to try to save Norman.
Mm-hmm. Tibbs,
and
pacing.
So I think the plot's. I mean, it's a very simple plot. I mean, orphans realize that they're cattle, so they need to escape.
Yeah.
But I think what's really made, at least for me, the show so just enticing is just the characters and the conversations, and I think the animation as well did a really good job of, I could completely empathize with the characters when I would see their facial expressions. I feel like their facial expressions were really well animated. It was very obvious that, they were horrified, or, whenever that very first episode when Emma and Norman look into the back of the car, they don't show any of it, but they just show their facial expressions. And you can tell just from what they're seeing, it's completely horrifying.
Yeah.
And so...
that's such a good David. And they say in literature, right? One of the best techniques you can employ is show don't tell, right? And
yeah, exactly. Yeah, this show did that a lot.
It did. You nailed it. That's such a good point, David.
Here's for a show that is literally, this is a show about people talking to each other. Period. That's all it's about.
It is.
To be able to make it suspenseful and make it action driven and make it interesting to watch is such a good work, one from the manga author, because obviously putting those set pieces together correctly, and two from the animation studio, because a manga author can put a page full of text, really, put one character on the page and have them talk the whole page. Mm-hmm. But being able to, I remember a lot of these early chapters, it would be just like silence. It would be blank pages of like Ray skulking, or them sneaking around corners, or a light just pierces the darkness that they're hiding in, or whatever. So much of it is that suspense that is created through no dialogue whatsoever.
Yeah, the absence there. Wow. Yeah, but
I was gonna say something else, but fuck. There were. We'll move on. I forgot.
It's
a good show. Watch.
It was a good show. I think okay. So last points of negotiation there. So I think we layered on pretty thick what makes this a strong plot, strong piece of work when it comes to dialogue, pacing, character development. Those are certainly the positives of a series like Promised Neverland. I do wonder, do you guys have anything that stood out as maybe a weak spot for this series. I think that one thing, okay, and I'll start also.
Okay.
I do have a thought about this. That's why I wanted to bring it up. This is a tough show to critique because it is well thought out, well paced, well plotted, sort of adventure fantasy shonen, right? And because of that, it's rising to the top worldwide. But I do wonder, is this show going to stand the test of time? And will it leave like an outstanding mark on the shonen community? That's my hope with this, right? So I do think that, unfortunately, as Shonen Jump fans come, they are not generally attracted to a series like this. This has no power fantasy. This has no Super Saiyan. This is a tightly plotted mystery, and one that unwinds in front of our eyes about strong characters. But will this stand the test of time in Shonen Jump? Death Note was able to do that, and I wonder if it's because it was the first of its kind. But I think about many other shonen series that after they finish their run, they fall into this, did they change the genre? And I want to say that my answer right now is that Promised Neverland did change the genre, and that 10 years from now, people will still be talking about it as a setting bearer, a standard bearer for where we can go with this. But I'm curious, did it do enough? Again, we still have more seasons of the show to come. I mean, just be upfront. So I don't know where it'll land after it's all said and done. The manga has finished, though. The manga is concluded. So the story's over somewhere. You can go read the end of The Promised Neverland right now if you wanted. And it is a completed series. And everyone knows the hype kind of dies down when a series completes. And people start to really look at it. And because when I really pull it back, like I said earlier, while it's got really tight dialogue, tight pacing, and a really tight plot, and I don't mean like it's cool, I mean like it's tight, like it's tightly wound.
Right.
I do.
It's
think
also tight.
I do think that at the core of it, Kenny kind of mentioned this. It is a pretty straightforward, not particularly like advanced series to list. Like you can comprehend and follow this show quite easily. And I think intentionally because of the demographic it was going for. But because of that, I think maybe the author may have held themselves back from some of their more mature or more developed themes that they may have tried to put in there. So I don't know. Thoughts? Is there anything, because I do think that this is borderline a perfect shonen anime series in its current format. But I do wonder, does it have legs? Will this have legs? I don't know. David, do you have any thoughts? I just finished the show, so I'm really curious.
Yeah, I mean, well, you said it. I mean, there's only one season out. So the entire manga was 181 chapters. Mm-hmm. And I think this first season covered the first 35 to 40-ish chapters.
Is that right, Kenny?
Something like that.
Right, yeah.
Something like that. So, I mean, if math checks out, there's going to be about another 4 to 5-ish seasons.
I'm about to say, I think there's only 4 major story arcs in the whole thing.
Right. So there might be like 4 to 5-ish total seasons.
Yeah.
Give or take. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, as far as we know, the plot can get a lot more complex. They could be introducing a lot more things. Mm-hmm. I mean, so in this universe, as much as we know, there's basically like a hex. This map is like a hexagon, and their orphanage was in one of the areas, and I think there's 6 total areas, and our immediate group of people, which I think are about 14, 15 of the kids that were able to escape, are now in a new plant. So, I mean, we might explore all of the plants when the show's over, and there might be something more than just humans and monsters. I mean,
they escaped the hexagon entirely. Like, they run out of the hexagon.
Oh, so they're on the outside.
Yeah. They wouldn't go into the other hexagon holes.
I thought they escaped. Well, because they talked about wanting to save other kids, so I thought they got into a plant to break everyone out.
That's their intentions in the long run, right? That's why they left Phil, right?
Right.
To be upfront, David, I think that there is a potential. I'll say it right now. With only 181 chapters, the first season of 12 episodes covering a solid 40 chapters of this series, I think there's a potential. I don't think they've announced the episode count for season 2. I'm going to be upfront. I think there's a potential they'll go through to the end. They'll just end it in one season.
Whoa.
Really? 24 like 24?
Imagine, 24? Just do a 26-episode series, cover the next 140 chapters. That's not out of that's not out of the possible. I would not rule that out because
will that fuck with pacing though?
No, I think it could be paced really well in my thought, because at a 40 chapters and 12 episode pace, you're covering what, 3 to 4 chapters an episode.
Yeah, give or take.
Yeah, about 3 to 4 chapters an episode. I think they'll probably up the pacing to something like a 5 chapter episode pace. I think they could go right through and do 26, and it would still feel really nice. I love the pacing in the first season. We already talked on it. I could see them doing it. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I think at the they won't do more than 2 more. I think it's going to end in, if it's not going to go all the way through to the end in season 2, it'll end in season 3. They're not going to they're not going to give it a 4th. You know what I mean? They're not going to keep dragging this show.
Yeah. Most of the time, it's not like a My Hero Academia type show where they're
most of the time, once a series has wrapped, once a manga has wrapped, they're going to want to complete the anime, or else they're going to start losing viewers. Because once the manga is wrapped, the story's over. People are become less interested in an anime series unless it's some sort of reboot, something like that. So they're going to probably shoot. I mean, we've seen it happen with shows like Bakuman. We've seen it happen with shows like Assassination Classroom. They both got essentially the manga ended, and they just went ahead and did another season and wrapped it up. Food Wars and Haikyuu are essentially taking the same route right now. They're going they're just jumping right. Food Wars is over. The anime just did the final episode of the manga, so it's fully over. The anime and the manga have fully adapted, and it jumped right in. Pretty much the manga ended, and they said, all right, let's just rush it. Let's finish up the last season. I didn't expect that. I thought they were going to wait and do another full season, but they are already completed. 2020 was both those coming in. I am curious what Promised Neverland will do. If they only give us 12 more episodes, I would be surprised. And if they do only give us 12 more, I would say season 3 will be a 24 or 26, and it'll wrap it up.
Yeah, season 3 would be it at the most.
Yeah, I think for sure. I don't think they're going to drag it through another core after that. That would be, I think, a little too much, just because it's such a tightly wound series. I think that dragging it much longer is going to be rough. But good points overall about that. Kenny, do you have some thoughts on any of that?
I think this is my biggest gripe with the show, with the manga, with everything, is that we are introduced to a lot of characters that Emma cares about, and some of them we don't really know who they are. A handful of the kids that they escape with, you don't really know who they are. They're just kids they escape with.
I forgot her name, and that's it.
Yeah, and so it's important to Emma, obviously, and these characters are important to her, but sometimes you do lose that, and I think that more so as it continues to go, I think that there's a bit of character bloat in general. That's why it was always the big jokes that Phil's gonna come back. Phil, you got to remember, you got to think about Phil back at the orphanage, because it's there's a little bit of bloat in that aspect. But
Kenny, you sound like what happened in One Piece when the Sabo flashback happened. And you see him fake die, and then every arc that happened after, they're like, oh my god. Coming. They were like, Kinemon Sabo. They were like, oh my god, Caesar Sabo. Caesar is Sabo. Yeah.
Oh, man.
But then Sabo was Sabo, man.
And then Sabo was just Sabo. He was real. Yeah,
Sabo showed up and was like, hey, I'm eating this ace fruit, bro. What
everyone kept saying it for 2 arcs, Fishman Island, Punk Hazard. Everyone was like, where's Sabo? Where's Sabo? Then we get to Dressrosa, and that boy shows up. Woo!
There was Sabo, baby.
I'm gonna say it right now. When Phil shows up at the end of the manga, Kenny, you don't spoil. We're gonna be hyped. We're gonna be like, that 4-year-old fucker.
Phil.
Boom!
Oh, he's going to be a part of something important.
Yeah,
he has to.
He has to be.
Okay,
it's boys. Cool. So I think that's it. Let's pump it. Animation, art, all that good stuff. I think we all agree.
Right.
Very well done in the show. I don't think there's much to tear apart on that front. So let's hit it. What is our rankings? David, count us off. And we will flash the screen.
Oh, wait. I got to think about this.
Oh, yeah. You just finished. So, you have.
I just finished.
Where would you rate the first season of Promised Neverland?
Just the first season of Promised Neverland.
Kenny, you got to think about it. Just season, not the manga.
I know.
I'm ready. All right. Okay. 3, 2, 1.
This much.
I gave it 8. Yeah. Oh, damn. Yeah.
Okay. I go 8.
Kenny goes 8. David, you go 8 or 9?
I went 8.
8? Oh, you said 4. And I said 7.5. That's where I'm at. I think it's all yeah. I think it's right there. So we're all actually pretty much in the same zone. Yeah, I think that to me it's like a 7.5, and I think again I'm only pushing it down. I think I'm worried where the series will go. I don't know what the next step is. I hope it doesn't get too hokey. I hope it doesn't get too bogged down by the monsters, and it stays sort of in the psychology battle that we got in the first season. It's got great character development, great pacing, and great art, animation, and dialogue. But like Kenny said, there's some superfluous characters, and there's kind of this worry that it can get a bit boring, I think, for some people that are maybe used to action shonen or comedy shonen. That's where I hit it at 7.5. It's a really well-crafted show. It's a really well-crafted series. It deserves the love, and it totally deserves... I don't care if you are just a Dragon Ball watcher, go watch Promised Neverland. If you love this sort of stuff, you already watch stuff like Psycho Pass and Tokyo Ghoul, you're going to love The Promised Neverland. I'll be up front. If you're into that other shit, like Dead Man Wonderland, The Promised Neverland is that but better to me.
That's a good Unravel. I got to write that down.
Yeah, shit, yeah.
That shit got
it's that
fucking
but better.
dumb.
Dead Man Wonderland, it gets pretty AWOL.
That one gets fucking stupid.
It gets AWOL, dude. But yes, that's why I got 7.5. Kenny, David, what do you think? Why the 8s are like any?
So yeah, I gave it 8. I mean, it's probably because I'm a little bit biased because I literally just finished it. But even though that I binged this show, a show that would probably be a much different experience watched from week to week. I really love the characters. I love the universe of the show, and I'm really excited for what's to come. Really excited to see what can happen after the end of the season.
Right.
There something I didn't mention about earlier. There were times when there was a song that started playing during key parts of throughout the show. I think the song happened like 3 or 4 times, and it was like, what was it? It was like a trumpet was playing. It was like a whole orchestra that was playing.
You're right.
And it was like very hyping.
Like, whoa!
And those were my favorite parts of this season. When that song started playing, because it was during very, very important parts of the season.
Right.
I can't remember them.
Anime
I just watched.
does a really good job, right? Anime will do really good about picking like a song that's like it becomes the song that is like tied to an emotion. I actually want to talk about this in our next review, the show we're about to talk about.
Next show is a good example.
So y'all know. Yeah, it did it a lot. Yeah. But I forgot Promised Neverland did have this one theme that would play during the really serious. It was during a lot of those prime like breakdown moments where we would be breaking down. And that's where they would use it. And you're right, I forgot about that theme, but it gets stuck in your fucking head. I remember it like being in my head for weeks after I watched the show.
I think it was during like parts when they were like all like at like a table and like planning out something. That music would play.
Right.
And I just remember like just like sitting up and like really focusing and just like getting like pumped up.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah. But yeah, I think like in the moment 8 is the number that's shouting out to me right now, so I think it's well deserved.
Kenny?
Yeah, I feel the same. Also, look out. Just I think a couple weeks ago, the author released a one-shot. I don't think we've seen the last of this author, this artist.
Oh no way! They're like they're on the top of the world right now.
I don't think that we've seen the last of them. I think that I don't know if that one shot's going to get picked up or if they're going to develop a different story altogether. But it's we've not seen the last of them.
Correct me if I'm wrong, boys.
It's an anonymous person too, right?
Oh, they're anonymous. They don't reveal their face.
They don't know. So it's written by Kai Shirai, and it's a pen name of a mangaka whose real name and date of birth are unknown, according to Wikipedia.
Wow, I didn't know that. I would definitely be on the lookout for whatever they do next. I think it could be another big hit. And correct me if I'm wrong, boys, or people in the comments. I want to say Promised Neverland is one of the top 10 best-selling mangas of the year last year. So it was one of the highest sold mangas in the previous year. I want to say it was like number 6 or something, 5 or 6. Really well. It's being people in Japan, whereas where a lot of manga is being primarily purchased, they're buying it. They're buying this series. So definitely get into it now if you can. Okay. Woo! What a blast! I love that show. Everyone, go watch fucking The Promised Neverland.
Hey guys,
it's really good.
Let me tell you. Wait. Just
wait.
What? Just wait.
Just wait. He's saying right now. Just wait.
Yeah.
Just wait.
Oh man, Phil, what are you doing, man?
Wait till season 2, baby. Wait till season 2.
Just wait.
I can't wait.
Let me make sure that my hand.
Let me just say, GP, that arc, that one's a bop.
Okay, cool, awesome. So we're gonna totally shift gears. We're gonna talk about a totally different type of show. For the most part, we're going to talk about the quite popular shoujo manga that ran, I want to say back in ran through to 2016, I think is when it ended. Yeah, 2011 to 2016. The anime all ran in 2015, so about 5 years back. But it was a very popular shoujo series. Ran in the shonen or shoujo magazine. I believe it was Shueisha's Bisatsu Margaret magazine, published by Viz here in America, and was adapted by and this might shock some of you or even you two if you didn't know. It was animated by Madhouse Studios.
Yeah,
you guys know Madhouse. Madhouse for
Black Lagoon, baby.
For the viewers at home, Madhouse is pretty well known for doing like some badass anime is the word I would use.
Yeah, like
including
Vampire Knight.
Oh my god, including the 2011 Hunter x Hunter adaptation. Are they really known for Vampire Knight?
No, I have no idea. But I had to say it. It had to be
Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust.
They're very well known for shows like Parasite the Maxim, which was a very well known show that came out. No Game No Life has beautiful animation and is also a very powerful show. You've got the new Hunter x Hunter reboot, all this stuff, and for some reason they also animated My Love Story, a manga about a big guy and a little girl. Not little like young, little as in she is a small person.
Well, they're both young. They're 15 years old. They look like they're 15 for sure, right?
No. But Kenny, go ahead and give us our breakdown here. What is My Love Story about?
My Love Story is about a very big man by the name of Gota Takeo.
Mm-hmm.
And he has never had much luck with women. But his good friend, Makoto Tsunekawa, does have a lot of luck with women, but it seems like he always tends to turn these girls down. And then one day on the train, Takeo, who is a good moral boy, and he's a strong, huge guy, he stops a groper on the train from this girl, Yamato, and she falls in love with him. And it's all about their love story. And how they come to understand one another and their affection for each other and their affection for their family and their friends. It's just a cute shoujo, and it's really it's enjoyable to watch. If you like shoujo, it's good. I love that, in particular, I think that Takeo obviously is based a little bit on Kinnikuman, and he is this sort of... He is a shonen protagonist, if we're being honest, right? Like, he could easily be the captain of a baseball team, or the guy that is in charge of a sports anime.
Well, he's unquestionably the protagonist of this series. Despite it being a shoujo series, the perspective of the show is actually a male perspective, which I was a bit surprised by for something that ran in a shoujo magazine.
Yeah.
But
he is so like wholesome, and he is an anime trope, if we're being honest, right? Mm-hmm. But it's put in a totally different scenario that you're not used to, and it's fun and it's cute. And that's My Love Story, right?
Yeah, it's I think this is the first shoujo anime that I've seen from beginning to end.
Seriously, really? Shoujo,
if ever, honestly. And it was a lot of fun. It was
Banana Fish.
Oh,
Banana Fish was technically a shoujo, but it's okay. Heavily shonen inspired shoujo series. So it's hard to call that a traditional shoujo series. This is all me.
First traditional shoujo that I've seen. Yeah,
it's a very traditional shoujo.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Boys, it's a bit of a not quite traditional shoujo, right? We're not in the care of some girl who falls in love with a pretty boy, and and then obviously another girl is going to enter into the mix, and then another boy will. But
so legit question: what is like stereotypical shoujo? Is it what you just described?
I mean,
so shoujo is. It's always a girl and a guy. They fall in love, or they meet each other and they like each other, but they can't admit feelings for each other quite yet, and they begin to sort of talk, and then usually another female character is introduced who tries to go for the boy, and then most likely another male character who likes the girl is introduced.
Yeah.
And and that also plays out in My Love Story, right?
Yeah, that literally happens.
Yeah. It still all of the traditional shoujo tropes show up in this show, and,
right?
No question about it. It's just interesting because it comes from the perspective of a male. As your protagonist, when traditionally a shoujo story, just like shonen stories, are often told through the eyes of a boy, but we talked about one told through the eyes of a girl, Promised Neverland. This is the reverse. My Love Story, it's a shoujo series that's traditionally told through the eyes of a woman, now being told through the eyes of the male in this series. So I thought that was very interesting to talk on. But and doing a quick look, Kenny, and you read the manga, right? It seems like almost all of the manga got adapted, but maybe the last volume or two, so maybe the last 4 or 5 chapters, something like that, right?
Yep.
It seems like we only barely lost the ending because the manga didn't conclude until a couple months after the anime did.
It's not much. It's like I believe she gets an offer to move away, and then he's like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, and then he's like, oh, I'll just go with her, and they just reaffirm their love, and then they're like,
yeah, I assume. It seemed like the show did a good job of setting. Again, the ending actually didn't feel like it wasn't an ending. I felt comfortable with the ending. I don't think they're going to do another season to try to animate the last couple of chapters. I can't imagine they'll ever do anything like that. So I assume this is all we'll ever get in anime form of My Love Story. The big things that I want to chat on, guys. What did you like, David and Kenny? What was your first impressions? What happened when you watched My Love Story?
First of all, I watched the opening on every single episode. That opening is a bop.
Oh, it's getting
opening's a bop.
Yeah.
Opening is a bop.
I knew from the first episode I watched the opening. Click. Good show. No.
Good show. Good show.
Good show.
Good opening. Good show.
Mm-hmm.
I think. Ken, you want to go?
No,
go, David.
Okay, so I think for me, and I think we kind of talked about this in our group chat earlier this week, but I think I fell in love with Takeo's character instantly because he's like a, I guess, I won't say typical shoujo because I don't know what that is, but he was just so always thinking about other people, always putting other people's care or sanity or health in front of his own. Yeah. And in the first episode, he accepts the fact that, or not the fact, but he just accepts that all these girls like my best friend, which is Suna, they all like him, they don't like me. And he's like, I understand, I look like this and he looks like a model, so it's understandable. And he's like, I just, as long as he's happy, then that's all I care about. And the girl that he saves, Rinko, that he saves from getting groped on the train, he instantly assumes that she likes his friend Suna. And then the show is about Takeo and Rinko's love story, but it doesn't officially start until I think episode 3 or 4. Episode 3.
She's crying on the bed. Oh my god!
Yeah,
right.
Technically, it happens in 3, but it starts in 4. Yeah.
Right. And so, and then we kind of see, from the perspective of Rinko, I think on episode 3 or 4. Her perspective of those first 3 episodes, and you realize that she fell in love with Takeo at first sight when he saved her from getting groped. All the things that they do, because the 3 of them, Suna, Takeo, and Rinko, start hanging out as friends. And it's funny because Takeo's trying to set up Rinko with Suna, but Rinko's trying to get help from Suna to get with Takeo. And so it was just cute to see that.
Yeah. What do they say? Pretty late in the show, the one girl that likes him, that likes Takeo later in the show, is like, why are you so sly, or whatever he said. Why are you so? Because Suna knows the whole time. He's like, no, bro, what? No, she likes you. Obviously, okay. And then he does the whole under the bed plot, and he's like, okay, say it one more time, so he gets it through.
Come on, Yamato, say it one more time. I love Takeo. Say it one more time. Just come on.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, his hand, and I was like, oh,
like whoa,
this man. I was like, ah.
There were parts where I wasn't expecting the show to be as funny as it was. There were parts where I was genuinely laughing.
Funny, dude.
And yeah, it was
the butt tree.
Funny show.
The butt tree. I worship the butt tree. Dude. I love the butt tree.
Oh my god!
Takeo was like, what did he say? He said, "I always thought it was a woman's butt, but I actually realized now it's a man's butt." And I was like, "That's a man's butt." And I was like, "That is a manly butt."
And Suna and Takeo's friendship is so wholesome and fun. Like, and the way they acted as kids and how they continue to treat each other as adults, like they are just so cute. I think Suna is my favorite character because he's
the best character.
He's my favorite character too. He gets so many of the jokes and so many of the gaffes. I love the scene with the saran wrap.
I love that scene. I love that scene, right? But the best scene is on like episode 18 or 19, and his sister's like, or no.
Have you ever kissed anyone?
And his eyes drop. The screen is like, it's like the scene like flowing behind him, and he's just like, I was like, I lost it, dude. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, I forgot about that. I was like, this man got that forced kiss over the saran wrap.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
He was like, "No, I don't want this." Yeah. Or when the scene where Suna slowly backs away whenever they're having a conversation, and then he walks back in whenever it's finally time for him to be part of it again.
So funny. Yeah.
Suna is so funny throughout the show.
So many great moments.
And if we're being honest, Suna obviously looks like a common shoujo boy crush, right?
Suna is that on purpose, I think.
Right. He's a pretty boy. He's but he's so funny, and I think Takeo and Yamato are also fucking hilarious. But Suna is just so funny.
Right.
Yeah, I think this was the funniest show that we've talked about. I think, in my opinion, I think this was definitely the show that I laughed the most at.
Yeah.
And I think my favorite scene was when you realize that Suna turns down all these girls not because he doesn't like them or he doesn't think they're cute or whatever. Right. But he says no to all these girls because they talk bad about Takeo, his best friend, behind his back.
Yeah.
That was when I was like, soon as he's the best character. He's my favorite.
He's like, fuck them.
Yeah, he's basically like bros before hoes, which is like
he really is
funny.
Though. That's great. Go Kenny.
At that age, because like Takeo is he is like, I'm not this cute dude, and soon as this pretty boy, but like at that age, that's sort of what you're attracted to. But as I've gotten older, like dudes that are ripped out of their mind and look like Takeo at our age, those are the fucking hot dudes. Let's be honest, okay? If you are like, ready, set, and girls are like, Takeo is lifetime goals, okay? If I could just be like Takeo, okay?
Yeah, I think that what set this show apart is it's a traditional shoujo, but turned on its head, right? It takes that and it gives us something new. And then this show does a really, really great job of, it's almost like we're dating Takeo, or we are dating these characters, because as the show goes along, unlike something like Wotakoi, which is a really standard slice of life series, less shoujo, more slice of life, this is a shoujo, so it does have a bit of an overarching plot. There's a little bit of a lot of things that happen early on impact the way things happen later, and because of that, there are sort of sub arcs. Whether it's like the part, sort of the Suna's dad is hurt / Suna half of the story. You've kind of got some of the back end where they start to kind of hook up some of their friends. Suna's little love story. Some of these kind of subplots that you start to get. But what this author does really well is he or she, I bet it's a she, I have no idea. The author, whoever they are able to give us peeks into these characters that even late in the show, you're getting a new perspective on them, despite us kind of knowing, right? We know Takeo is a very giving person, but when we hear the story about the dog in like episode 22, right, about him, he hung out with the dog and then he gave it back to his owner, and you get another perspective, a continued perspective to get to know Takeo even further, as you start to learn more about some of. At first, you think Yamato Rinko is a very wholesome girl, just like Takeo thought, and then suddenly she has this whole moment with Suna's sister, and she's like, I have impure thoughts about him. I think he's sexy. I want to do bad things with him.
Right. She's like, I want to cuddle and kiss him.
Yeah. It's like, you're like, oh damn, like she's, and you have to remember she's at that point a 16 or 15-year-old high school student, and obviously like every 15, 16-year-old high school student thinks that too, and Takeo has this like high esteem of her, but truly Takeo's he's kind of the wholesome, naive one. She's actually pretty mature.
Right, yeah.
And we don't really ever get a peek. And this is something I kept expecting. We never get a peek into Yamato's home life, and except for small peeks into her house. And I'm still unsure. I kind of have a theory that
she had a nice ass kitchen.
I have a theory that
she had like great kitchen.
Her parents are a little distant from her, but
we don't see much of Takeo's or Suna's parents.
Well,
I don't.
No, you do. And, I mean, Takeo's parents get a whole story arc in the back end.
Oh yeah, I know, but
like learn from the dad. Yeah.
Before, like, when you meet Suna and Takeo's mom early, but don't see them much. Yeah. And Takeo's mom talks about being pregnant before we're ever even introduced to Takeo's dad.
Yeah. I thought it was some sort of other like child with some random man, and then all of a sudden the dad was there like in the next episode, and I was like, oh damn, no, they're a happily married couple having another kid. And then they get a whole story arc and a whole backstory, and that's where this show really shined for me. I was having so much fun because each character slowly started to get opened up like a book. It was like we slowly opened up each character and started to thumb through some of their pages, whether it was the I can't even remember her name, the girl that was in the relay race with Takeo, whether it was her little moment, her little backstory, Saijo, thank you, or if it was the Afro friend and the girl that he was falling for. Suddenly these background characters that all of a sudden the author decided, no, we're going to open these books a little bit more for you. We're going to learn the things that they like, the things that they care about, while still using Takeo and Yamato as the central point. They're still they're the main force of energy. Everything's sort of happening around them, but we're still going to get these little peeks into these other books of characters. And that is what made, for me, this, it was both a powerful slice of life series and a strong shoujo series that felt very paced up. It felt very fast. And in the overarching plot, despite it just being, okay, what other thing are these two cute kids going to get into next? That overarching plot was enough to keep me wanting to watch more. Unlike our last slice of life, Wotakoi, which didn't really have that driving force. It was a pretty standard, and I think My Love Story actually kind of falls on the line between a slice of life and shonen. Each episode was a pretty slice of life. Shoujo, sorry. Because despite, and I think what differentiates that is that because of shoujo's influence, there was like little story arcs is the word I would use. There were little arcs of storyline where we would have some continuation, and then things would build on each other in each episode, which most slice of life have as well, but maybe not as firmly as something like this does, where it feels like a contained series or story. I love that about this show, though. I think I've got a couple highlight moments. I don't know. What are your highlights, boys? We've talked about a couple that were really good, but what are your other highlights?
I really like the red and blue Oni, the red and blue ogre stuff. I also don't think Suna is very much of a blue ogre. He's not going to leave because, no, he would always be by Takeo. He would never. But I do like that story and that parallel. And I like the way they did the animation and the way they
the show gives you its theme in the opening scene. Here's the theme of the series. It's about caring, it's about giving, it's about putting others above self. Yep. And then it just continued to build on that theme. Super cool theme, and to use that as a base layer, I think worked. Not every show or piece of media can pull that off, where it's like, boom, here's a thing you're supposed to care about, and it's going to matter, but you don't know why yet. And then slowly make you go, oh, damn, yeah, this really hits. Or like, this hits different, you know?
Yep.
What do you think, David?
I mean, probably another thing that sticks to my mind is, and I kind of wish we saw more of this, and I was wanting this to be expanded upon more. But when Takeo gets a job working at this, which I assume is like a gay bar,
like Hooters, but for like sexy boys.
But they serve like protein shakes and stuff.
Yeah,
it seems almost like a personal trainer.
But he's 15.
You know.
There were like things like that I wish that, like, I was really happy that they did open up, like you were saying, Jerry, like you were putting beautifully, like opening up like the books of other characters and giving them time to shine. But there were other things in the plot that I wish that they expanded upon more, like with Takeo's job. Like, I felt like his mom just became 9 months pregnant in the blink of an eye, and
time passes.
Time moves really fast. I agree. I know what you mean.
The season is a whole year, right?
Yeah. The season covers from their first day as first years in high school until literally the last episode where they're starting their second year in high school.
Second year in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But things like that. And I was happy that, because a thing that they hone in, like in the very beginning of the show, when Rinko is introduced, is that she loves to bake.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, she's just going to keep baking, and is there going to be anything more to that? But there were a lot of things throughout the show where they kind of like tied her baking into what else was happening at the time. So like the Christmas episode was something I really enjoyed, where, or was it the Valentine episode where she brought in her friends to like
Valentine's
together? Valentine's, So she like got her friends together to like make chocolate. And that kind of ties together the world of her friends, her love of baking, and Takeo and his friends, and that kind of because that then began the relationship of Afro and the other girl. That was Christmas. But I liked how the author used Rinko's love of baking to connect other story elements together.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, absolutely.
It worked really well. Yeah, it was one of her sort of like characteristics that overall drove some of the plots, which I thought was really cool. I didn't expect that either. I also think that, again, it's just like, I have to keep going back to it, but Takeo was such an oddly authentic and introspective character that I wasn't expecting for a 15-year-old. He has a couple sort of inner monologue moments throughout the show that were maybe... I liked them because they're my sorts of reflections that I'm going to have as an audience member. But when I pull myself out of that, I don't know if a 15, 16-year-old kid would be reflecting like this on, you know what I mean? Like,
typically,
clearly these inner monologues were more of the authors, like, oh, I've learned from this, and here's, in the future. It felt, it almost makes me wish that some of those inner monologues have been told by, like, in more of like a narrative form, as if it's like Takeo 10 years in the future talking about it or something. I think that would have been an interesting way to take it, because then it shows that, because he was having some very quick introspective thoughts for someone who's kind of monkey brained, that were pretty high level. And I think that for me as an audience member, I was in tears. I was like, absolutely, this, so cute, these reflections on first love, or the loves that you have, the people in your life. And then as I was thinking about it later, I was like, damn, like those were really deep thoughts for a 15-year-old, 16-year-old kid. He was 16 by the end of the show to be having. But I love that in some ways. The pacing was super cool. I thought that each kind of, I don't know if they did it like half chapters each episode, Kenny, if that's how it actually ended up.
I think it is.
It looked like it felt like it was like a chapter for each half of the episode. Like each half of the episode sort of covered its own chapter of the story. And that pacing worked, so about a 2-chapter an episode pacing, which is why they covered about like 40-ish chapters across, 20-something episodes. So pretty good little pace for this show. It didn't get boring or stale to me, which I thought it was going to. Every time I'd watch another episode, I would think, oh, is this going to get boring for me? But instead, I was just constantly wanting to come back and watch their love keep growing. It was like, I was drawn to that. I was like, oh, I actually do want to watch what happens next. Or even though there's no like, no one's dying or getting killed, I was still super interested and excited to come back for another episode.
Mm-hmm. It was close.
And when the show did drama, the drama worked so well. I think one of the key highlights for me is Suna's dad's situation, and the way that Takeo and Suna's relationship shined in that whole scenario. Very touching. The way that Takeo responded to it, as well as just Suna's processing of that situation as a young kid and trying to deal with the fact that his dad was, I believe it's understood his dad lives through that.
Everything went fine.
Everything goes good.
He shakes it. Tell me if it went good or not.
So many good moments there, but it's just interesting because his dad just kind of falls back to the back burner after that. But we see that like that's the kind of
we never even see his dad.
We don't see it.
I was gonna say I don't think I remember. We saw the mom, but not his dad.
Yeah, we see the mom a handful of times.
And amidst it being a love story about Yamato and Takeo, it's also a deep romance between Suna and Takeo. Truly two of the most impressively involved male characters that I've ever seen. in an anime series. And you've kind of got almost one of my only other comparisons I have is Gon and Killua, who really, really deeply care about each other in similar ways. Obviously in a different type of story.
What about AG and Ash? Come on.
Gotta go. I don't think the author in that show, or at least the animated versions of them, I don't think they did as good of a job making me invest in AG and Ash's relationship. Or, I felt it was a little more stale than... I think Suna and Takeo was a better written relationship than AG and Ash. Fight me.
Who's AG and Ash? What is that from?
From Banana Fish.
Okay.
The show we watched. Ash.
Yeah. I was like, wait.
Please, God, don't let them take AG from me. Okay.
Oh my God, no. And that's what I'm saying. Though I think that we have such a strong male connection there. For that, they are not in love, right? And I love the moment when, God, I'm forgetting her name again. The relay race girl is talking to
Saijo.
Saijo is talking to Suna, and she's like, "Yeah, I like him as a person. I like him as a person." And he's like, "No, I think I like him as a person. I think you like him more than as a person." And he's like, "No." She's like, "No, don't you? Yeah, you like hanging out." Yeah. And she's like, he's just, he clearly knows what his feelings towards Takeo are. Although, when Takeo confronts him about it, "Do you like me, Suna? Do you? He's actually pretty he kind of deflects when Takeo tries to talk to him about it. But when anyone else talks to him about it, Suna's really open about how much he cares about Takeo. Which I thought is a really cute little quirk of Suna's character. It does make you just really love him. You're like, Suna, you're the best friend that anyone could ever have in the entire fucking world. Everyone needs a Suna, dude.
Suna has a lot of lines, but so many of his lines are communicated with just the text popping by his head. Yeah, because it's nobody else can really he's just it's not important. Whatever.
So many beautiful moments with Suna. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I love this show so much. I don't know what about it was so... Again, it was just endearing characters, plotted well across a fun and well-crafted little love story. You constantly... you live the highs and lows with them, and they do go through a couple lows, including jealousy and contempt for people around them that might be trying to take or impact their love. Or even this moment in the end where Takeo starts to realize, if she really does love him more, then I'm okay with that, and I still love her for that. I know that that's what's right for her, and that's where I was like, damn, again, one of those things where I was like, they're reflecting on some mature themes for 15 to 16-year-olds. But that happens a couple times throughout the show between the character that falls in love with Suna in the back half, the kind of... I thought a really well done relationship between the Afro guy and Nanako, because she was like, "Why the fuck don't you stand up for me, dude?" And he's like, "Oh shit, I'm just a coward, and I don't fucking know why."
Yeah, he was like,
I am.
He's like, I couldn't have done anything. I would have.
I'm not big like Takeo.
Yeah, he was like, I would have gotten you hurt. It was just easier for me. It was better for everybody to just go grab Takeo.
Such an interesting, another just one of those interesting relationships where we get to see it through Takeo and Yamato's experiences, but then we get to see other characters learn from, grow with, and build out this very fleshed out world. There's lots of characters in it that by the end you're like, wow. And the final montage as it kind of shows everyone, I was like, oh damn. I was like, this is a big world. There's a lot of stuff in here that's happening. Yeah. It was very cute in that way, but God, Takeo's one of my favorite characters, I think, of anything I've watched in a long time. I adore him. I think that he is what ties this show and the Promised Neverland together for me is protagonists that are deeply empathetic. And Takeo is the same way. He is a deeply empathetic character that will care for anyone no matter, even if they're his rival, someone who has harmed him, someone who has done wrong by him. He will always continue to care first, which makes him... Again, it's weird to me that girls don't like him is kind of a running gag, and but he's loved by every guy in school. That was at first I was worried that it was going to be kind of one of these stories where it's like this man's been beaten down his whole life and that's why he doesn't understand why he's being loved. But in reality, everyone fucking loves Takeo. He's the most popular kid in school. The guys love him. He's very heralded as like, but the thing is, he just hasn't been able to find his garish, his looks and his appearance have just scared off like potential relationships, which is kind of his he has great friends and great family and a great home life and an incredibly and it's why he has such an attitude of positivity, which I was kind of going into this thing he was going to be like the fat loser type of character. And I was worried that was gonna like make me a little like put off. Like then you
saw that beach episode,
but then I said, nah, he is an incredibly positive and charismatic character that is loved and loving and caring, and very thought out. And yes, he's terrifying, and he can swim a mile in fucking seconds, and he can run faster than taxi cars, and he can jump out of a burning building. What else other crazy shit did he do? I feel like he was just constantly doing shit that made just like absurd shit.
Come on, the Yokozuna is born, okay?
Dude, I was
the
doctor held him up.
Yeah, the Yokozuna has been born.
He was massive, and that just makes you go, wow, this is a character that loves life and loves to be alive. And despite some hardship, it's not like his family had it totally perfect. They're clearly not super well off. I think that's a part that isn't really shined. Both him and Suna are not rich or anything like that. You know what I mean? They seem to live in very small apartments with their whole families, in sort of this small complex. And, Takeo's parents have another kid on the way. But just the wholesomeness that comes with caring for people in your life just blew me away. And I think Takeo is a character that deserves a lot of love and respect because he's such a well thought out character that never acts outside of the bounds created for him. And he grows, he changes, he becomes better, but he never does anything that just seems like out of character. I think that really makes him a really powerful character for a shoujo. Which I'm getting too deep for something that was like literally a rom-com. This is literally a rom-com, and I'm just like, oh yeah. The themes and the
that's shoujo, baby.
Rolling about that.
That's the part we love. Okay.
Whatever, boys. Okay, boys. Any thoughts? Some of the technical aspects. This is probably the best animated shoujo I've ever seen. Madhouse knocked
animation was really well done.
Out of the park for no fucking reason. Just like incredible art and animation across the board. The music. Oh, Jesus Christ. This show does music. And David and I mentioned earlier, the only thing I want to mention, it knows how to use music to affect your emotions. The moment some sort of song would start playing, you'd feel, oh, I'm about to bubble up and cry, baby.
The use of piano in this fucking shoujo was so... It hit every time. It never missed.
Yeah, every time. They really had the music planned to such a moment. And the use of it was just, the moment certain songs would play, I would get emotional because I knew that they were trying to, and it just works. It works together. The music works. The art and animation work. The intro songs is beautiful. And it slowly, do you guys remember how at the beginning, the cake has no toppers and they slowly put the toppers on it? Naruto and I
always thought that they put one more topper on. I guess whenever I watched the first,
I think it just ends with just the.
No, they didn't. It's just the three of them. But
So technical aspects, it's really good. The technicality part, art, animation, music, all this just really well done. It's hard to crucify at any point because unlike Wotakoi, which was clearly a much lower budget sort of slice of life where you kind of had to deal with some of the stale or reuse the animation. My Love Story never did that. It was all clean, crisp, very, very well, kind of meticulously animated, I would say, to the smallest of details in some scenes. So, very, very clean. It does the shoujo sparkles better than any shoujo anime I've ever seen before. You know what I mean? Like when something sparkles.
Shoujos do it a lot because they don't like to draw backgrounds, I think.
Yeah,
they'll just pick the background out and be like, oh, there's just sparkles.
Sparkles.
You know, okay.
This show just nailed the shoujo sparkles. So, I don't know, any negatives or anything you guys want to hit on that point? Because I think we've talked about everything.
Why didn't Suna date that girl? Okay, what the fuck? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I was curious about that. I was like, what is... So I was like... I was hoping by the end of the show that Suna would get some kind of relationship or something because everyone around him was. And so I don't know, I just felt like...
I love
that.
He has that moment on the bench where he's like, no, don't try to spread the love or whatever.
Yeah.
Yamato's like, I have tons of friends.
And I almost started to believe that maybe I don't know. The author never really like told us, but like I was starting to maybe lean into the fact that maybe Suna was not, I think he was somewhere else on the like identity spectrum for this. I don't know if he likes women, if that makes any sense, but maybe he's just not. I mean, he says he does in a couple scenarios.
Right, he likes the athletic lady.
But I think the author was trying to maybe lay down some hidden themes that Suna was still kind of discovering what his sexuality and what his what he really liked. You know, I don't know if the author was trying to imply that maybe he was asexual or something along those lines, or the character was still trying to discover if he was maybe interested in more than just women, something like that. But I do think there was some small hints that might actually be there. But again, it's all over, so I don't know where the author was going with it or if there was any intent to do anything with it, but it felt like there may have been some small theming for that because Kenny?
I think it was just really like Suna, he wasn't concerned about having a relationship or being in a relationship. Like he didn't really care for it. At the time in his life that he was at, he just
there's no need for it.
Yeah. But I do love that. I love that the reason in my mind that he gives that girl a chance at all, or like goes, you know, is willing and happy to be around her, is because it's clear that they approach him with Takeo. And I noticed that there's sort of this underlying thing that Suna only, I think, gave her that opportunity because he realized that this girl thought highly of Takeo. And I think that was a really good little sneak in the back end. I was like, yeah, Suna's only going to give someone any time of day if they're willing to see past Takeo's faults and give him a chance. So I thought that was a really cool little thing they snuck in as well. But yeah, other like any like, I think that this is a really strong. I don't know. Again, I don't watch a lot of shoujo. I don't think anyone. Well, Kenny probably watches the most of us three.
Oh, definitely.
And for me, this just felt like a defining story of the genre. It felt like My Love Story did something that the genre doesn't do, and it worked, and it was really well done. And I think that makes it a really impactful series in shoujo as a whole. So it's kind of hard to rank it because I think that in a couple of years, in 10, 20 years, it'll still be looked back as a sort of a defining point in the genre, something that was really cool and well done. I still hear it brought up in shoujo conversations, and I think it will continue to be that way. So it is hard to kind of rank or rate My Love Story as a series, just because it was really well done on all fronts. But I do think we can rank it. I was trying to think of like things I didn't like about the show, and I like genuinely can't really find anything I didn't like. I think my favorite thing about it in its entirety was just seeing the relationships begin and grow, and just riding along with them on that journey of them, just becoming closer, and more than just Takeo and Yamato, but just between Suna, Takeo, and basically all the characters, because we see all. It was just nice to see all the interactions, and as the show progressed, seeing people in the world be more accepting of Takeo and see him for who he really is as a person, rather than just this large, gorilla of a human being.
I mean, just girls in particular, right? He is. I love. Yeah. Okay, one, I love the scene where he's doing the back curls out the window.
They drop him, then he monkey modes on, and he flips.
Yeah, he was like, I just went into the window below, but make sure you hold on tight next time, okay?
Yeah.
Or I love whenever Yamato's like, you're like the strongest, and Suna's like, yeah, I think so, and Takeo's like, no, there are people that are much stronger than me, and Suna was like, I think that if we truly ranked all humans on
yes, bro, I lost it.
Strongest, you'd be pretty high up there.
Yeah, Suna was like really getting his ass. I was like, oh.
He was like, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Okay. So let's hit it, dude. Let's rank it. David, count us off, dude. What do you think?
All right. 3, 2, 1.
I did it again.
What'd you do?
7.5 again.
Oh, I did 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Solid 7.
I gave it just a 7.5 again, and yes, that means I'm ranking it right next to Promised Neverland and other shows like it. Only reason I didn't go down to a 7 is I actually felt it was just a little bit better than a 7. It's a shoujo series that whether you watch shoujo or not, you should watch it. And if you do watch shoujo, you'll love it. If you don't, I think you'll still enjoy it. It's a defining story of the genre. It's worth a watch, and it's not boring. It was not boring. It's fun and it's fast paced. So it's an easy watch. It's an easy binge, honestly.
Yeah,
it's being 24 episodes. Boys, why'd you give it the 7s?
So coming from someone like this was my first shoujo ever, and I think this makes me want to watch more shoujo. Mm-hmm. So that in itself, it definitely needs to receive a high number. And then the show itself, I love the characters. I loved seeing the relationships blossom as the show continued, and just seeing the plot as a whole. Like everything was connected.
Yep.
So solid 7.
Solid 7.
I would definitely recommend watching.
I know that shoujos can be bad. I know they can be really good as well.
Contrived and soap opera.
Vampire Knight is not bad at all.
Honestly, Vampire Knight's the best shoujo of all time, I think.
Vampire Knight, okay.
How many vampires does it take to get to the center of a lollipop? The world may
one second.
Yeah, Vampire Knight, you said. So David received an anonymous gift. Which one of our viewers sent him this little guy, his favorite anime series of all time? We'll never know.
Vampire Knight.
Kenny.
It's a cute show. I do think it's well animated. I really like the music. I think it's good on all aspects, but I can't put it that much higher because they're like, I reserve things for 8, 9, 10 for things that truly blow me out of the water. Like I enjoy My Love Story and it's a great shoujo. But it's not my favorite shoujo of all time. It's not, but it's definitely worth watching. I think that if you're an anime fan, you should watch it. That's what I think.
Yeah, easy enough. All right, boys, solid. Let's wrap this puppy up. We've gone a little long, so let's wrap this back end up. Kenny, who are you unraveling today?
Sorry, guys. What are we talking?
You cut up real bad, dude. Say that one more time.
We're gonna be talking about Naruto, okay?
Naruto!
Everybody's fucking seen Naruto, okay? And sometimes shonen anime has just got a fucking end, okay? Now, our story Naruto is about this little boy, and there's this 9-tailed fox or something that attacks his village, and then they sealed it in his belly, and, well, here's the thing, okay? Actually, the 9-tailed fox is a manifestation of his mother, who is named after the moon, I think, and actually his mom is sealed inside of his stomach, I think. And there are other tailed beasts, but we don't hear about them for like 350 episodes. And also his dad's sealed inside of him as well, if I remember that one correctly. And sometimes whenever a ton of people die in a war, you can just do the bring back the village no jutsu. I'm pretty sure that Naruto, after the pain arc, he pretty much was unbelievably overpowered and incapable of being stopped by any means outside of literally nobody else could stop him. And so after that point, it was like, why are we even doing this anymore? Why are we going back to Sasuke and Naruto at the Valley of the End? They aren't even enemies. They don't even not like each other. They are still friends. I don't understand. Why are they fighting? This makes no sense. Naruto,
and then they become best friends.
Then they become best friends and work together for the rest of their lives and live in the Leaf Village. Naruto makes no sense. Okay, why is his mom inside of his stomach? What is with the Uzumaki line and sealing the 9-tailed fox? Why do we only hear about the Jinchuriki like 350 episodes in the goddamn show?
Well, you learned about Shukaku earlier, but yeah.
Yeah, but there are 8 other dudes. I don't think that in the earlier episodes is there a true connection between Shukaku and Kyuubi?
I think that it's not as clearly defined. You're right, but it becomes clearer in Shippuden after Jesus Christ, the Granny Chio arc. I think you actually start to learn more about the Jinchuriki.
I'm pretty sure. The Jinchuriki is the main plot of Shippuden. After,
essentially.
The Akatsuki are like stealing them up or whatever.
Yeah,
guess what? Zetsu was Obito. We all knew it was going to happen. Or no, wait. Yeah, Zetsu's his name, right? Zetsu's Obito. We all knew it was going to happen. Everybody knew from the very fucking beginning that Zetsu was going to be goddamn Obito. We all fucking
But it's also Madara, Kenny. It's Madara Uchiha.
It's also Madara.
It's also Madara.
Also,
the old
has his
villain.
Mom and dad feel that it's coming, okay?
They also fight aliens from the moon.
It makes no sense.
They do
Naruto.
a jutsu that traps them and makes them relive their old memories. It's the infinite filler jutsu.
If I remember correctly, 2 times everybody gets resurrected. Like, isn't there? There's an arc where they fight them as zombies, and then they fight them as zombies again. Don't they?
Kabuto's reanimation jutsu, where he brings legitimately everyone. And though I will admit, the reanimation jutsu is not something that gets introduced that late. Remember, Orochimaru actually uses it in the original show.
Yeah,
to bring back two of the Hokages to fight the third.
To kill him, right?
They kill him. Yeah, they kill the third. They finally kill him.
This show is stupid. Nobody should hold Shonen Anime up and say, listen, this is a coherent plot line straight through, because these things get made week to week, every week. And if you can maintain a coherent plot line with clutching to maintain serialization, I know that Naruto didn't have those issues, but still, if you were asked by a publishing company to continue to write forever, basically, your story's going to spin out of control.
You get Naruto. You get Boruto.
You end up with Boruto, which is the sad, just money baby of Naruto. It's the word I would use. It is a money grab that has just been produced in a laboratory at this point. It's barely a story. Yeah.
You want to know how they figured out how to make Boruto even possible? Because obviously Naruto is unbelievably overpowered. I cannot stress this enough. Naruto becomes broken and no longer growing as a character.
Literally God.
So much before the end.
They had to introduce moon ninjas, Kenny.
They had to introduce moon ninjas that suck the chakra. You know, the main thing that every character fights with the entirety of the show up to that point. They just suck it.
The Otsutsuki clan!
Now you can only use taijutsu. Guess what? Everybody's like Rock Lee, okay?
Kaguya! From the moon!
It's so dumb.
God damn it.
Trapped in the infinite Tsukuyomi!
Sometimes Shonen Anime just go, oh wait, yeah, the bullshit with Itachi? What the... Itachi's... Actually, the whole time, our friend had the whole
bad. He's very good! He's good. He just had to murder everyone in his entire bloodline to be the greatest good guy.
His whole family, they were the bad guys. That's why he had to kill them.
They were bad. He was good. Edgelords unite.
He touches Sasuke on the head, okay?
He always loved you, Sasuke.
I remember binge reading this manga in college and thinking, this shit's so cool.
Yeah. It's just crazy because Naruto deserves some credit, but Jesus Christ, does it?
No, Naruto's not bad. It's just the plot.
The back end just falls to
spins out of control.
Yeah,
Kishimoto just loses it in the back half. Honestly, I think that
all shonen anime or shonen manga that run too long spin wildly out of control as they just continue to get serialized, and they're like, well, I don't know. I guess I'll just keep writing. I don't know.
I'll make something else. Okay, sure. Yeah.
I'll do a ninja war and kill some people. Oh, people didn't like that I killed.
We're going late. Let's wrap this puppy up. Let's get this. I think I've said that every single episode, by the way. Let's wrap this puppy up. I have no idea. Is that my catchphrase? Is that my wubba lubba dub dub now? Am I just going to keep saying, let's wrap this puppy up?
No, I guess so. Yeah.
I don't even know who the puppy is, dude. Is the podcast the puppy? No.
It's getting wrapped up.
All right, boys. Next time, we have a special surprise for you here on the Uncensored Anime Podcast, which means we should hopefully have a special guest that you will find out when the episode drops. And we will be watching some new anime that this time we will not be announcing on this episode, but we will be announcing on our social medias. So keep an eye on our social medias, where we will be letting you know what to watch after this episode drops, to let you know what we're going to be watching for next week's episode, with our special guest, which we'll hopefully be announcing on our social medias as well. And then the week after that, we will be doing a special episode. We will not be doing a rotating episode where we rotate who picks which anime. Instead, we will be doing a special fall 2020 seasonal first impressions episode where we will watch the first episode of 13 new shows, brand new shows, not season 2s, not season 3s, not reboots. We're going to be watching 13 brand new anime series, and we will be watching the first episode and giving you our first impressions on those 13 shows, our first impressions on their first episodes. That means we're going to pick shows that are being adapted from light novels, some that are being adapted from mangas, and some that are original stories. So next week we're going to have a special episode. We're still going to be doing some anime reviews, but with hopefully a special guest. And the week after that, come back for our first impressions on the fall anime season, which should be a ton of fun for us, at least, because we get to watch a ton of shows all in 1 week, which should be really cool. Okay, guys?
Yep.
Excited.
Thank you so much for listening along. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of the Uncensored Anime Podcast. We can't thank you enough if you've stuck around and you've listened to a couple of our episodes now. We've been really happy with the support that we have come. You know, we're growing at a nice pace that I think we're mostly happy with. And obviously, if you want to follow us on any of our socials, subscribe, all that stuff. If you're just now discovering our show and you just watched 2 hours of it for some reason, please, we would really love the love and support. We get nothing out of this except for purely our enjoyment of getting to watch some new anime shows and talk about it with the people we love, and then share it with people to hopefully get some perspective on shows they should watch or on shows they have watched. Whether or not it's your favorite anime or your least favorite anime, we stay uncensored here on this podcast. We will rip it to shreds if we hate it, and we will praise it to death if we loved it, because we are not beholden to anything on the Uncensored Anime Podcast but our opinions, our perspectives, our views about the about the medium that we love. Anime is a medium, the medium that we love. So we're really happy to continue to keep bringing these episodes out. So, David, Kenny, do you guys have any closing thoughts on tonight's episode?
Beautifully put.
Thanks, guys. Yep. No, we're good then?
No, that you should just like be the last word of all that.
Shit, I need to quit. I always like wrap up and then I think to ask you guys, because I'm like, you guys are the we're co-hosting. The 3 of us are co-hosts.
Yep.
And we are the I'm excited.
All right. See you guys next week on the Vampire Night Podcast. Thanks for watching.
Bye.